Ladies, let me talk to you for a minute. You ever sit back and wonder what makes a man think about you nonstop? What makes him go crazy over you? What makes him check his phone every 5 minutes is hoping to see your name pop up. Let me tell you something real quick. It ain't the long paragraphs. It ain't the perfect selfies. And it definitely ain't about being available every time he calls. It's 5 simple words. But before I give you those words, I need you to understand why they matter. Because these ain't just some magic words out of a fairy tale. These words work because they touch something deep in a man, something he don't even admit out loud. Let's get into it. A man wants to be missed. Every man wants to feel needed. Every man wants to feel like he left a mark on your life. Like when he's not around, you still think about him. You still feel him. But here's the secret most women overlook men miss the women who give them space to feel powerful, not desperate, but impactful. You got to understand this. When a man feels like you respect him, like you believe in him, like you see him, that man gone move mountains just to be close to you again. Don't chase him, challenge him. Now listen to me closely. Too many women are out here doing the most. Blowing up his phone, double texting, posting thirst traps hoping he sees it. Girl, stop. You are the prize. You don't chase kings, you attract them. When you give a man a little room, not to run, but to remember you, that's when the magic happens. That's when he starts wondering where you are, what you're doing, and why he ain't hearing from you like he used to. Now some of y'all don't believe in this because you think silence is losing. But baby, silence is strategy. Silence is power. You don't have to explain your worth to anybody who can't already see it. The words that hit different now, I know why you're here. You came for the 5 words. Well, here they are. I've been thinking about you. That's it. Simple, soft, subtle, but powerful. Because you're not begging, you're not chasing. You're not even asking him to reply. But you're planting a seed in his mind. And let me tell you something, men, remember how you make them feel. Those words. They hit him in the chest. Makes him sit back and think about every moment y'all shared. That laugh, that smell, that last conversation, that time you made him feel like a man. And don't say nothing else after that. Let the message marinate. Let him sit in that feeling. He'll read it, then reread it. And before you know it, he's missing you like crazy. Don't text out of fear. Now let me tell you something else. Because this is important. Don't text him because you're scared of losing him. Don't send that message because you're feeling lonely and weak. Send it when you're calm, when you know your value. When you're standing tall in your worth. Because the energy you send it with, that's the energy he'll feel. You ever notice how when you text out of panic, you never get the response you want? That's because desperation smells. It leaks through every word. But when you send a message from a place of confidence, grace, and power, he feels that. It's not just the words. It's you. Let me be clear, though. These 5 words ain't magic if you ain't doing the inner work. If you don't believe in yourself. If you don't respect yourself. If you're still letting toxic energy control your life. You got to level up first. You got to be the kind of woman a man can't forget. The kind of woman that lingers in his mind. That walks away with dignity. That don't beg for love. She attracts it. Because when you walk like you know who you are, men notice. And the right man, he don't just miss you. He pursues you. He protects you. He prioritizes you. Take your power back now. Some of y'all might be saying, Steve, I already sent a whole novel to him last night. That's all right, baby. Don't beat yourself up. Every queen has a moment where she forgets her crown. But you got to put it back on. Today is a new day. And from now on, we move different. We walk different. We talk different. No more explaining yourself to people who don't get it. No more overgiving to people who underappreciate. And no more waiting around for someone to choose you. You choose you. And guess what happens when you do? They come back. Because nothing is more attractive to a man than a woman who knows her worth and ain't afraid to walk away if she's not getting it, is when he misses you. What then? Now, when he finally hits you back, because trust me, he will. You got to stay in your power. Don't fall back into old patterns. Don't rush to reply like you ain't been doing just fine without him. You got to ask yourself, does he deserve access to you again? You see, it's not just about making him miss you. It's about making him earn you. Because a man who doesn't value you shouldn't have you. Let that sink in. The bigger picture, now let's zoom out for a minute. This ain't really about texting. This ain't really about 5 words. This is about you stepping into the most powerful version of yourself. This is about you realizing that you have influence, that your presence is a gift, that your energy is unforgettable, and that when you know how to carry yourself, a man can't help but crave more of you. You're not a placeholder. You're a purpose partner, and any man who doesn't see that is simply not ready for the blessing you are. Final word, let him feel the loss sometimes. The greatest message you can send is no message at all. Sometimes the best thing you can do is fall back, glow up, and let him feel the absence of your presence. Because if he doesn't miss you when you're gone, he never really valued you when you were there. You don't need to scream your worth to be heard. Whisper it, own it, walk in it, and let the world, including him, adjust accordingly. And when the time is right, if you feel it in your spirit, go ahead and drop those 5 words. I've been thinking about you. Then sit back and watch him miss you nonstop. Now go be unforgettable. Respecting yourself is the foundation upon which all other relationships, decisions, and achievements must rest. When you learn to treat yourself with care, dignity, and compassion, when you draw firm boundaries and refuse to tolerate anything less than what honors your worth, you embody a confidence that others cannot help but acknowledge and respond to. This is not arrogance or cold self-absorption. It is a deep, grounded conviction that your presence matters, that your feelings matter, and that your life is worthy of respect. When you consistently uphold your own worth, you teach the world how to treat you. You teach who deserves proximity and who must remain distant. You refuse to settle for scraps of attention, affection, or acknowledgement. Instead, you stand rooted in knowing that you deserve the full measure of honesty, kindness, loyalty, and regard. And because your self-respect is non-negotiable, you do not yield to someone else's demands or demeaning behaviors. You do not excuse infractions or gaslight yourself into believing that disrespect is tolerable. You do not shrink to accommodate someone else's insecurities or whims. You hold your ground, and in that solidity you radiate value that cannot be ignored. Self-respect is neither passive nor silent. It is active. It shows in your boundaries, the lines you draw around your time, energy, and emotional availability. It shows when you say no to things that sap your spirit, no to relationships that drain, and no to compromises that corrode your integrity. It shows when you walk away from people or situations that attempt to diminish or manipulate you. It shows in your refusal to beg for validation, because you understand that true confirmation must come from within first. It shows in how you speak to yourself and treat yourself. If you harbor self-criticism, belittle your own feelings, or allow internal abuse, then your external signals to others become muddled. You must speak gently and firmly to yourself, with respect and understanding, so others can witness the reverence you have for your own being. When you respect yourself, your decisions become clearer. Choices that once seemed confusing now sharpen in definition. You begin to see quickly which relationships uplift and which ones drain. Which opportunities align with your values and which ones ask you to compromise your spirit. Which conversations are productive and which ones circularly loop into pain. When self-respect becomes your filter, you discard toxic invitations more swiftly and walk toward what affirms and nourishes you. You stop giving times and chances to those who show no intention of giving you real respect in return. Self-respect also shapes the boundaries you permit not only with others, but with yourself. is you cease tolerating self-sabotage, procrastination, or behavior that contradicts your goals and dreams. You demand more of yourself, not in the sense of harsh perfectionism, but in the sense of alignment. When your actions betray your values, you correct course. When you treat yourself poorly, you apologize to yourself and commit to better. When you speak over yourself, undermine or belittle your own voice, you pause and recalibrate. Because respecting yourself means caring about your inner world as much as your outer world. When you live with self-respect, you no longer question your right to say no. You no longer internalize guilt for refusing demands or limits. You no longer live as a martyr to others' needs or play shrill versions of yourself to gain favor. You do not diffuse your power in social settings or over-explain your decisions. You do not twist yourself into knots hoping someone else will accept or love a distorted version of you. You arrive fully. And if someone cannot receive the fullness of you, then that is their deficit, not your failing. Because respecting yourself demands clarity around what you want and what you will not accept. You begin to attract people who resonate with your standard. You attract relationships grounded in sincerity, mutual respect, and reciprocity. You attract work, projects, communities, and experiences that echo your own commitment to dignity. And while not every person you meet will measure up, you find that your life becomes a magnet for those who see your value and treat you accordingly. When you refuse disrespect, you protect your peace. You shed energy leaks. You stop tolerating behavior that belittles, manipulates, gaslights, or abuses. You reclaim that emotional bandwidth and redirect it toward growth, joy, and creation. You allow yourself to rest without guilt. You allow yourself to feel sorrow without shame. You allow yourself to dream without hesitation. You do not shrink from possibility just to avoid conflict or disapproval. You stand in your center with quiet authority. Self-respect is not built overnight. It's forged through trials, wounds, rejections, and losses. Each time you opt to honor yourself instead of bending to something less, you strengthen that muscle. Each time you choose to walk away from disrespect rather than beg to be treated better, you deepen your resolve. Each time you listen to your inner voice, even when it trembles, you solidify your allegiance to your own heart. You build up reserves of dignity that no external shame can plunder. You will falter. You will sometimes question whether you're too rigid, too proud, or too alone. You may feel tempted to compromise, especially when loneliness or longing storms your mind. But you must return to your truth. You are not less for maintaining your standard. You are whole for knowing your value and refusing to subsist on crumbs. You are powerful for commanding respect, even if you must stand alone for a time. When others test you with pressure, criticism, manipulation, you do not yield out of fear. You do not shrink in the face of pushback. You reaffirm your worth. You lean into the discomfort. You do not explain endlessly. You do not capitulate to coercion. You let the inconsistency of others show itself, and you respond with the consistency of your own standard. When respect becomes the backbone of your identity, your life story shifts. You stop allowing narrative arcs written by others. You take the pen. You declare your terms. You no longer life tethered to approval, to external validation, to fleeting favor. You live anchored in the quiet strength of your own worth, knowing that even in times of rejection, you remain intact. You realize that some doors will close exactly because you are too radiant for that space. And that is not a failure, but a redirection. When you respect yourself, your presence becomes an invitation to integrity. Others unconsciously assess how they must comport themselves in your presence. Your respect for yourself sets the temperature for how interaction will unfold. You do not need to preach respect. You simply hold yourself steady and the respectful respond accordingly. Some will leave, yes, but those who remain will be those who value what they are in the presence of someone who values themselves. And those relationships will be stronger, deeper, realer. Because respect is not transactional. It is identity. It is the lens through which you view every interaction, every boundary, every decision. To live with self-respect is to refuse diminishment. It is to commit to yourself in a way that cannot be undercut by external noise or circumstance. It is to know you will not shrink to make others comfortable. You will not audition your affection, is your power, or your integrity. You will not wrestle for someone to see you when you already see yourself. In every moment, let your self-respect speak before you do. Let it shape your language, is your posture, your tone, your presence. Let it be the standard by which you measure what you allow into your life. And in doing so, you become someone who does not have to demand respect. You already lives it. Respect yourself or no one else will. These words are not just a warning. They are a foundation, is a truth that applies to every area of your life. Self-respect is the quiet power that dictates how you live, how you let others treat you, and how you move through the world. It is the invisible armor you wear that tells people how to approach you. It is not loud. It doesn't shout or demand attention. It doesn't need to. It simply exists in how you carry yourself, in the standards you uphold and in the way you refuse to lower yourself to gain the affection or acceptance of others. When you respect yourself, you stop entertaining people who don't. You stop negotiating your boundaries to keep people in your life. You stop explaining your worth to those who are committed to misunderstanding it. You don't chase, you don't beg, you don't settle. You know what you bring to the table, and you're not afraid to eat alone if it means preserving your peace. You choose solitude over disrespect. You choose silence over unnecessary drama. You choose clarity over confusion because your peace is not up for debate. Self-respect shows in the way you say no and mean it, in the way you don't apologize for setting boundaries, in the way you walk away when someone repeatedly disrespects you. You don't stay where love feels like pain or where attention feels like control. You know the difference between someone who's genuinely trying and someone who's just playing games. You don't stick around to prove your worth to someone who keeps asking you to lower your value. You don't try to fix people who show no effort in fixing themselves. You realize that healing is an individual responsibility and respect means not sacrificing yourself to save someone else. You start choosing better. You stop being drawn to chaos. You stop normalizing disrespect disguised as passion. You no longer confuse inconsistency with mystery. You stop romanticizing struggle. You stop telling yourself that maybe if you love harder, stay longer, forgive more often, they'll finally see your worth. You stop abandoning yourself to be chosen. You stop breaking your own heart just to keep someone else comfortable. You stop settling for almost, maybes, and potential. You begin to understand that love without respect isn't love at all. It's control, it's manipulation, it's insecurity trying to disguise itself as affection. Respecting yourself means looking at your reflection and refusing to criticize every flaw. It means being kind to the version of you that's still growing, still healing, still figuring it all out. It means not comparing your journey to anyone else's. It means not shaming yourself for how long it's taking to unlearn what the world taught you to believe about yourself. You don't tear yourself down to build someone else up. You don't shrink to fit into places you've outgrown. You don't stay in rooms where your voice has to be silenced to be heard. You understand that being alone is better than being surrounded by people who make you feel lonely. Self-respect is knowing that your time is valuable. You don't waste it on people who keep showing you the same patterns. You don't entertain conversations that leave you drained. You don't keep explaining the same thing to someone who refuses to understand. You stop showing up for people who don't show up for you. You stop initiating with those who only respond. You stop bending to be enough for someone who doesn't even know what they want. You don't make space for people who only come around when it's convenient for them. You stop pouring into cups that never pour back into yours. You begin to prioritize your needs. You take care of your body, not because you hate it, but because you love it. You rest when you're tired. Is. You nourish yourself. You speak gently to yourself. You remove yourself from toxic situations. You surround yourself with people who inspire you, challenge you, and respect you. Is. You start trusting your intuition. You start believing that your feelings are valid. You stop second guessing your worth just because someone else doesn't recognize it. Is. You stop allowing temporary emotions to make permanent decisions. When you respect yourself, your energy shifts. You stop over-explaining. You stop people-pleasing. Is. You stop making excuses for bad behavior. You stop tolerating mixed signals. You stop waiting for someone to change. You stop pretending to be okay with things that hurt you. Is. You become unavailable for relationships that require you to betray yourself. You become allergic to situations that don't honor your boundaries. You become immune to the pull of toxic patterns. Is. You start attracting people who reflect the love and respect you've given yourself. You begin to operate from a place of abundance. You don't chase what's not meant for you. Is. You don't cling to things that are falling apart. You don't force conversations. You don't beg for closure. You don't fight to stay in places that don't feel safe. Is. You understand that what's meant for you won't require you to constantly prove yourself. You learn that peace is a decision, and you choose it every single day. Is. You don't let fear make your decisions. You don't let loneliness convince you to settle. You don't let rejection make you question your value. You don't let failure define your identity. Is. Respecting yourself is knowing when to try again and when to let go, when to forgive and when to protect yourself, when to speak up and when to walk away. Is. When to be patient and when to realize you've waited long enough, when to compromise and when to hold your ground. It's knowing that choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. Is. It's understanding that your worth is not up for debate. It's not something you earn by being more agreeable, more accommodating, more of what someone else wants. Is. It's something you claim and carry within you always. You stop pretending to be less than you are just to make others feel more comfortable. You stop hiding parts of yourself to be accepted. Is. You don't silence your truth just to keep the peace. You don't minimize your dreams just to fit into someone else's plan. You live fully, loudly, unapologetically. Is. You stop living for their approval and start living for your own peace. You stop needing to be understood by people who were never meant to walk with you. You stop fearing judgment. Is. Because you realize that people will always have something to say, and most of it has nothing to do with you. You start standing tall in your truth. You honor your experiences. You own your story. Is. You stop waiting for permission to live the life you want. You stop letting past mistakes define you. You let go of shame. You stop blaming yourself for what others did to you. Is. You stop carrying guilt that was never yours to begin with. You start showing up for yourself the way you show up for everyone else. You start treating yourself with the same care, compassion, is, and love that you so freely give away. Self-respect means not needing someone to complete you. It means knowing that you're whole on your own. It means recognizing that love should feel safe. Is. Not confusing. That relationship should add to your peace, not subtract from it. That anyone who truly cares about you will never put you in a position where you have to question your value. Is. You don't beg to be loved. You don't compete to be chosen. You don't lose yourself trying to keep someone else. You let people go if they need to leave. Is. You let things end if they've run their course. You stop holding on to what hurts just because you're afraid of the unknown. When you respect yourself, you trust your journey. Even when it's hard. Is. Even when you're alone. Even when it feels like nothing is working out. You trust that what you let go of is creating space for something better. You believe that everything is working in your favor. Is. You remind yourself that you've survived every hard day so far, and you'll get through this too. You move forward, not because it's easy. Is, but because you refuse to stay stuck in places you've outgrown. You keep choosing growth, even when it's uncomfortable. Respecting yourself is a daily decision. It's in the little things. Is. It's in saying no when you want to say yes just to please someone. It's in choosing sleep over another late night conversation that leaves you feeling empty. It's in speaking kindly to yourself when your inner critic gets loud. It's in choosing not to respond to that message that doesn't deserve your energy. It's in walking away from a situation that no longer serves you. It's in believing that your life is too valuable to be spent in places where you feel small.